My name is Clark Riplinger. I've been to BYU twice, actually. I did it for my undergrad in biology composite teaching with a minor in ballroom dance. And then I went back for my PhD in counseling psychology. Why did I choose to go to BYU? Well, the first time was a mixture of things. One, because it kind of felt like the thing I was supposed to do. When I was making that decision at the time, I was in the space of trying to do the right thing, and BYU in Utah is the right thing. So that was one reason, and also they had a great ballroom dance program that I wanted to be part of. I chose BYU a second time because I really did have a great experience at BYU the first time. There were a lot of aspects of the university that I loved and wanted to be a part of. Yeah, I kind of wanted to just be a part of that again and pay it forward. And I do definitely love BYU. There's definitely something about it that is special and unique that I don't think you can find very many other places. Yeah, I've spent a total of 10 years with BYU, which is wild to me. The first time I was not really comfortable being out or even identifying with a queer label. So I didn't really have much of an issue just because I was like doing the thing and fitting in. It wasn't until a little bit at the tail end of that experience that I started to really kind of identify that label. Was in counseling for the first time, which I loved. I was able to kind of come to terms with my identity and how I felt that intersection of spirituality and sexuality was working out for me. And so when I decided to go back a second time, I was like, well, I've done this twice. I've done it once already. I could do it again. And then when I got there, I was like, this is going to be tougher this time around. Yeah, I was a lot more comfortable in my own skin, and being at BYU, realizing that they were not comfortable with me being in my own skin as much, made for a lot of difficult dissonance, I'll say. I definitely was dealing with some oppressive experiences. I was like, when I would go to therapy with my therapist, I would just straight up cry from the moment I sat down and be like, this is so hard. So I definitely was dealing with a lot of identity issues, some like depressive stuff, some anxiousness, just figuring it all out, you know? It was a bit of a mess to kind of find a way to be able to claim that space for myself. And so struggling with that identity issue, I think is the biggest thing I would say mental health wise, of being able to find a space where I can claim that and own that for myself and become the person that I am actually happy to be and proud of and like. But luckily I was in a program, the counseling psychology program, that was actually very open and liberal. I kind of consider it like a liberal pocket of BYU, where I was very open, very out, talked with my professors about it, my cohort, my colleagues, everyone. It was awesome to have such a good group of people that I was surrounded by that were so supportive. I started coming out. It was a very gradual process. It wasn't a big coming out thing. It wasn't a Facebook post. It wasn't a huge life shift. It happened in small stages. The first time I ever talked with anyone about my attractions to men was actually on my mission. My mission president in the exit interview straight up asked me if I was attracted to guys, which I owned, and I was like, yeah, I am. I'm not acting on it. I don't feel like it's an issue at this point, but that is real. It wasn't my favorite way to have the conversation, and I don't know if I was necessarily ready for it, but I'm glad that it started the ball rolling. I did talk with bishops behind closed doors about it, but never people in my life that I intended to keep in my life for a long time. Until I had a roommate at BYU who decided to come out in a big way, up and left mid-semester, moved to New York to be with a guy, told his family, be on board or get out kind of a feel. And I was quite impressed with the way he did it, but I also knew that that wasn't how I wanted to do it. So I told my parents several weeks later, but I wasn't going to change anything. I wasn't leaving BYU. I wasn't dating guys. I wasn't even planning on leaving the church, or I was still planning on getting married in the temple to a woman. And so I came out then, and since then things have shifted in ways, and it's been in stages as I've felt comfortable with myself and comfortable with my support system. But I've done it in my way that I wanted to do it. So that's one thing I really liked about my whole coming out process. I was ready to be done with BYU just because I was sick of the pressure that was there that was so closely tied to my degree. Like, I was constantly on edge and worried that, like, if someone interpreted something the wrong way, that I was going to lose the opportunity to have a license and my PhD. And so I was ready to get out and to kind of feel more comfortable in my own space without that risk. I went to Texas for a year and I was able to really settle into my version of spirituality instead of BYU's version of spirituality, which I loved. There were a lot of similarities, sure, but it just was the fact that I was able to find it and own it for myself without risk or threat that I loved. And then I was able to come back to Utah and own it and not feel like that was being forced on me or that there were pressures pushing me to be a certain way, but I could actually be myself. The biggest piece of that I love to own is that I get to own it. Like, honestly, if I feel like something doesn't fit, I get the chance to look at it. I get to take it back to my own thoughts and my own mindfulness or prayers, meditation, and just see, do I like this? Do I not? Does this match with what I feel God is or believes? And so that piece alone is so valuable and meaningful to me that I don't have to put a definition around it, which is great. I don't have to subscribe to any set way of doing things. I get to decide what works and what I feel to be true. Try and own your own space. Like, there's going to be pressure on every side of this. There's going to be pressure from the church. There's going to be pressure from BYU. There's going to be pressure from the LGBT community. There's going to be pressure from friends, family, roommates, whoever. But they don't get to decide how you do this. You do. And do what works for you and the way you want to do it. That's hard to do. And sometimes there's not a lot of choice with that. Like at BYU with Honor Code, there's definitely some things that if you choose, there's consequences. But trying to live your truth and own that truth is so valuable. And getting to that space where you're able to do that means the world to me, and I think makes the biggest difference.